Gentlemen, this is Jamie, aka Rick here, and this is going to be my first video of the Mists of Pandaria talent system. So we're going to start with the first one, which is Death Knights, and basically in these videos I'm going to go through each of your abilities that you can get, or the talents. So at like 15 I'll go through the 3, and 30 I'll go through those 3, and I'll do that for every class. They'll each be separated into a different video, so you can easily look, at the video title, and you'll know what you're going to be hearing about in that video. Again, as before, all of this is on MMO Champion. It's a few pages back now because it's not, brand new news anymore. But still, I thought I'd better talk about it because it is quite big news still. And yeah, so as I said, we're going to start with Death Knights, and at level 15. You get a choice between Rolling Blood, Rolling Blood, Corpse Explosion, and Outbreak. I'm on my laptop, so the screen's not as big as I'm used to. But yeah, Rolling Blood. Your Blood Boil ability now also triggers Pestilence if it strikes a diseased target. That is amazing. So instead of obviously using that blood rune on Pestilence, which spreads the diseases but does no damage, you now hit Blood Boil, which does damage and it spreads diseases. So it's basically, you're not losing DPS. You're not losing that one rune that's not really doing much, instantly. Yeah, over time it builds up because it spreads the disease around, but if you can do that with Blood Boil, that's quite nice. Not that I use Blood Boil that much, but if I had that, I'd use it once. So obviously instead of the Pestilence rune, you'd use that one. You'd lose Blood Boil just to spread it, so you get a little bit more DPS out of that. Corpse Explosion detonates the nearest disease-ridden corpse to deal 3,761 shadow damage to enemies within 15 yards, afflicting them with Blood Plague and Frost Fever. An enemy that dies while affected by one or more of your diseases will receive the disease-ridden effect. So basically, if an enemy dies while it's got one of your diseases on, you corpse explode it, it blows up and spreads all your diseases to everything within 15 yards, which is awesome again. And an Outbreak instantly applies Blood Plague and Frost Fever to the targeted enemy, which already is in the game, Outbreak. Basically, there's like a theme to each set, so at 15 all 3 abilities will have a similar theme, and at 30 again they have a similar theme. As you can see, this one, it is spreading diseases quickly and effectively. So basically the first 2 are kind of like AoE spreads, but you need, obviously with Corpse Explosion you need a kill to get that. But maybe if you're killing mobs and then you pull the next lot to the same point, Corpse Explosion would be really nice. But if you're advancing as you go, Rolling Blood would probably be better. Unless there's, say, a pack of mobs, like in, what one is it? It's that one, Stonecore. You've got those messengers, and they're in with packs. So say you put a disease on that and it dies, then it's disease-ridden corpse. You can explode it and then it spreads to everything else. So if there's a mob that dies quickly, that's only got a little bit of health compared to all the others, then you could do that and it would work quite nicely. And then you got Outbreak, which is obviously just a single target, instantly applies both diseases. That's quite nice as well. I already use that on my Death Knight because I've already got it. So yeah, that's level 15, really nice. Personally, I'd take Rolling Blood. Is it Rolling Blood? I can't see it. Looks like Roiling Blood. Don't know if that's a typo or not, but that's fine. Yeah, so I'd either take Roiling Blood or Corpse Explosion in that, depending on what instance, what the packs were like that we were pulling, for example. So, but yeah, they're both nice. Outbreak not so much. There's other ways of refreshing your diseases on targets, so yeah, I use it every now and then if I forget to renew them, but for the most part it's not that difficult to remember. So seeing as Frost Fever automatically reapplies with Howling Blast now, so because I've glyphed it. So yeah, that's good. Right, level 30, you got Lichborn, Anti-Magic Zone and Bone Shield. Already you can guess what this is about. It's about mitigation of damage, pretty much. All three are still the same, but I'll go through them anyway, just in case you don't know what they're about. Lichborn, draw upon unholy energy to become undead for 10 seconds. While undead, you're immune to charm, fear and sleep effects. That's quite nice. It's a good PvP talent, I have to say. It's really useful. See, if you're running into a crowd, then you know you're going to kind of get some CC at some point. Then if you pop that, then you're immune to all those, and you can just go nuts, pretty much. Also, if you can see a mage casting polymorph, you haven't got your interrupt on, off cooldown, then you can pop it then, just to block that as well. That's quite nice if you can get the timing right. So yeah, Lichborn's quite good. You got Anti-Magic Zone. Places a large stationary anti-magic zone that reduces spell damage done to party or raid members inside it by 75%. The anti-magic zone lasts for 10 seconds or until it absorbs 11,832 spell damage. So again, I'd see this as more of a PvE standpoint, because say you're on a boss and you got mobs throwing spells at you, you can all group up, you can pop anti-magic zone, and those mobs outside casting the spells, they'll do hardly any damage, and they'll be able to be taken out. Sorry. So yeah, that would be quite good. And then you got Bone Shield, the last one. Surrounds you with a barrier of whirling bones. The shield begins with 6 charges. Each damaging attack consumes a charge. While at least one charge remains, you take 20% less damage from all sources. So that is definitely a tanking one, and you should have that up at all times, no matter what. It's got a 1 minute cooldown, and it lasts 5 minutes, but I'm sure you'll be hit 6 times. So basically you want to be hitting that off cooldown every time if you're a tank. Bone Shield, it is super nice. So those 3 all mitigate damage, kind of, but they've got different. I'd say Lichborn PvP, AMZ PvE, and then Bone Shield is definitely tank PvE, so it could be useful in PvP as well, but I'm not sure if it can be stolen by a mage. I'm not sure. Might be able to. I don't really know. Right, at 45, you've got Death's Advance, Chillblains, and Asphyxiate. Death's Advance. While your unholy runes are both depleted, moving impairment effects may not reduce you below 75% of normal movement speed. So basically, when you haven't got unholy runes, you can't be rooted, I guess. Movement impairment. Yeah, I'm guessing you can't be rooted. That's what that sounds like. Because obviously a root takes you to 0%, movement speed. So 75% is still pretty fast. So obviously, like a frost mage won't be able to slow you that much. You still move quite fast, again with a DK as well, because they have slowing effects. Like this next one, Chillblains. Victims of your frost fever disease are chilled, reducing movement speed by 50% for 10 seconds, and your chains of ice immobilizes the target for 3 seconds. So then, if you were fighting someone who had Death's Advance and you had Chillblains, instead of reducing it to 50, it would only do 75. So that's quite nice if they didn't have any unholy runes, obviously. So that's quite nice. And Chillblains as well is good. Obviously reduces their speed to 50%, which is a lot. And Chains of Ice immobilizes them. So that's really nice as well. So basically you slow them down and then just root them to the spot. It's really nice. I like that. It's quite cool. Obviously that again I think is more PvP related, because you don't really need to slow that much in PvE. Occasionally you get like a mob that I think it was Forge of Souls on the first boss. You had that orb that followed him, and if it got to him then obviously gave him health back. So it was nice to slow that. I use Chains of Ice on that all the time. So that slow it down, because people are bad and some people don't know how to kite bosses. But yeah, so that was quite nice in that case. If you're fighting that boss, I could see that being really helpful. The fact that the frost fever slows the targets that'd be nice. Asphyxiate, this one's really cool. Lifts an enemy target off the ground and crushes their throat with dark energy, stunning them until it's cancelled. Functions as a silence if the target is immune to stuns. I'm guessing, I don't know how long it channels for, it doesn't really say, but I'm guessing that there isn't a limit. You can just hold this person in the air for however long, because there isn't like, you know, last 10 seconds or something. It says, you know, stunning them until cancelled, so I'm guessing you can do this like forever. It says it requires Strangulate as well, which is obviously the one that stops them from casting, so this is more of a you know, a physical ability. You can stop someone casting forever, but you can't do anything either, so it's a bit of a certain situations it would be really helpful, I can imagine, but others maybe not so much. I'm not sure if they can still be hit while you're doing this. If they can, that would be quite useful. Obviously if you're in a 2v2 or 3v3, you know, you've CC'd one of them if you're in a 2v2, and then on the up you just asphyxiate the other one and just absolutely crush him, you know. So then this one can't do anything, the one that's asphyxiated can't do anything, but your other teammate can go nuts on him. That would be quite nice if you could do that. I'm not sure if that would cancel it or not, it doesn't really say. Probably have to test that, see how that works out, but yeah, looks really nice so far. Level 60, Death Pact. Drain and first Death Pact, Death Siphon and Vampiric Blood. These are kind of health regen ones. So Death Pact, drain energy from an undead minion, healing the Death Knight for 25% of his or her maximum health. So basically this is already in the game. You've got your minion, you sacrifice it, and then you get it back. Yeah, that's quite nice. You get health back. That's good in PvP. Occasionally in PvE, if your healer's struggling a little bit, it would be quite nice. As a tank maybe, that could be quite nice. But I've used it probably once or twice in PvE when I've had really bad healers, or there's been a bad tank and the healers, you know, got to concentrate on the tank more. It's really helpful if you can heal yourself. Death Siphon consumes a death rune to deal 4,701 shadow damage to an enemy, healing the Death Knight for 75% of the damage dealt. That's quite nice as well. So, you know, death runes, you always have a lot of death runes, no matter what kind of class you play. So again, that could be quite helpful. It's like, I'd say in PvE again, PvP again, more than anything else, so you're still dealing damage and you've got even more self heal. So Death Knights have got quite a large amount of self heal already, but with that as well, that would be quite nice. You got Vampiric Blood, temporarily grants the Death Knight 15% of maximum health and increases the amount of health received from healing spells and effects by 25% for 10 seconds. After the effect expires, the health is lost. So it's kind of like a warrior's last stand, but it also buffs the healing received, which is really nice. So basically, if you're getting blown up in PvP, this could work. If you're getting blown up and your healers, you know, struggling a little bit, pop that, get more health, then their heals do more, they top you up. As again, in PvE, if you're taking a hell of a lot of damage for some reason, as a tank, obviously, if you're, you know, you've pulled a bit too much, or a DPS, you know, if you stand in the fire or whatever, that could be quite useful. For the most part, all three of those are really good, and as you can see already, just by what I'm reading out here, they've done so well. Obviously all of these you want for different situations, but some of them you need in certain situations, some of them you could have, it would be helpful, but this one would be better. So I reckon you'll be changing your talents a lot. I can see I would already just by looking at these. So level 75, you got Blood Tap, Runic Empowerment and Runic Corruption. Blood Tap, each damaging Death Core, Frost Strike or Rune Strike generates a blood charge. Blood Tap consumes 3 blood charges to activate a randomly fully depleted rune as a death rune. So basically, as you're damaging, you know, you're doing your attacks, this covers each one, because obviously a tank uses Rune Strike for the threat, Unholy uses Death Coil, I'm guessing, I don't really use it as a Frost, and Frost obviously uses Frost Strike because that's a lot of damage you get from Frost Strike. So obviously as you build up your blood tap charges, you can activate any rune that's not, well, it randomly chooses one that's depleted and reactivates it for you, so that's quite nice. I'm not sure if do you have to click blood tap. Looks like you do. So you do your attacks. You've got 3 blood charges. You've got a rune that's completely used. You hit blood tap, you get it back. That's quite nice. So it's a way of generating a bit more DPS, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's quite nice. Then you got Runic Empowerment. When you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike or Rune Strike, you have 45% chance to activate randomly fully depleted rune. Again, you're getting regeneration of your runes again. That's quite nice. Runic Corruption. When you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike or Rune Strike, your rune regeneration rate is increased by 100% for 3 seconds. So all of these have their separate uses. Obviously, Runic Corruption increases the time it takes. Decreases the time it takes for your runes to regenerate. Blood Tap gives you 1 back after you've done 3 attacks, and then Runic Empowerment gives you 45% chance to just randomly regenerate a rune. So all 3 of them kind of do the same thing but work slightly differently. They're all really good talents, and I'd find it difficult to choose which one of those I'd want, to be honest. I'd probably take Runic Corruption because I sit in Unholy stance or Presence, sorry. Your attacks are really fast. I'm always finding I'm waiting on a lot of runes. So with Runic Corruption, it increases that even more. Because I hit Frost Strike a lot, that's my Runic Power Dump. So I throw that out a lot. So I'd regenerate a lot faster. There isn't a limit of how often it can proc, so I'm guessing, yeah, so every time I hit Frost Strike, my regeneration of runes would be quicker, and then I get more runes to play with, and then that gives me more runic power to spend because I'm using more abilities. So it kind of gets faster and faster, and with Unholy Presence as well, which makes your global cooldowns faster, it would be even quicker, so that'd be awesome. And finally, level 90, you got Gorfine's Grasp, Remorseless Winter, and Desecrated Ground. Sorry about it. I don't know why I'm tired. I should be resting up for my week off of Call of Duty gaming. But yeah, Gorfine's Grasp. Shadowy tendrils coil around all enemies within 20 yards of a target, hostile or friendly, dealing 4,137 shadow damage and pulling them towards the target's location. So basically it's like another Death Grip, but you can do it to friendly targets as well. It causes a little bit of damage to them, but it pulls them towards you. So if there is, like, you can see a noob standing in the fire or is gonna get hit by something, you can pull him away. He'll still get a little bit of damage, but you won't die. Something like that. That's one example. Or if you see a hostile, in PvP, they're running away, you pull them back to you, they get damage dealt to them, and then you just blow them up. That's another example. That's really nice. I like that talent. Death Grip's nice, but in PvE, Death Grip's nice, but PvP it's not as good because it doesn't really do anything. Like, it in the tooltip it says makes the target focus on you for a certain amount of time, but obviously in PvP it doesn't really matter because they don't have to. It's being controlled by someone, so that doesn't actually apply to PvP. So it's quite nice that they've put that in there. I could imagine a lot of people taking that. You got Remorseless Winter. Fucking hell. I would cut this out, but I've got no editing software, so I can't. Remorseless Winter surrounds the Death Knight with a swirling tempest of frigid air, dealing 3,777 frost damage to enemies within 10 yards every 1 second for 8 seconds. Each time Remorseless Winter deals damage, it reduces enemy movement speed by 15%, stacking up to 5 times. Upon receiving a 5th application, an enemy will be stunned for 6 seconds. So I'm guessing you can pop this while moving. So you can blow in someone up, you pop that, and as they're trying to run away, they're getting hit by Remorseless Winter and all your other abilities as well, and they're being slowed and slowed and slowed. If they can't get away, then they'll get stunned, and then you can just go nuts. So I can imagine that would be quite a nice opener onto someone, or at any point really during a fight. That would be nice to have, but as an opener. Or maybe if your mage has used his blink, you either you death grip him and then pop Remorseless Winter. He's pretty screwed, to be honest, because unless there's a priest nearby to drag him away, he's pretty screwed in that case. Probably just ice block, like all mages do, but that could be quite nice. Or you got your hunter, if they disengage already, and then you grip them towards you, or you spring on them, and then you can pop that, and they're pretty screwed as well. Even though they can still shoot you now, that'd be quite nice. But for the most part, that would be quite deadly. Basically, any time in PvE PvP where your opponents used any cooldowns that help them get away from you, Remorseless Winter would be quite nice to use. Desecrated Ground corrupts the ground in an 8-yard radius beneath the Death Knight, dealing 1,880 shadow damage every 1 second for 10 seconds. While standing in this corruption, the Death Knight is immune to crowd control effects. That is pretty damn nice. So if you're a tank, that would be nice, because obviously the more time you're feared or stunned or whatever, the less time you can build threat, so you might lose threat. In PvP again, if you're standing in your ground and you're nuking someone and you get a mage that just throw a polymorph at you out of nowhere, if you're standing on this ground it won't work, so that would be quite nice. That'll involve a bit more kiting of Death Knights in future, because at the moment you can kind of stand near them and just blow them up. Say I'm on my warrior, I charge in, and just absolutely maul them. But if they've got that on them, try and get it out of there. Try and get the Death Knight out of there, really, because you don't really want that to happen. You don't really want him to be standing there if you want any kind of help. So yeah, that's all the talents for a Death Knight. That's a lot of really interesting ones, like just loads that I'd probably sit there thinking, right, what am I doing today? What talents do I need? Stuff like that. There's a lot of ones that some days I'd want, some things, for I'd say on PvEing one day, and in the dungeon I'm going to be doing, there's some low health mobs next to a pack of elite mobs. I'd take Corpse Explosion just for that. But other days maybe there isn't those, and there's big AoE packs of strong mobs. Take Roiling Blood just to increase my DPS that little bit more. But yeah, pretty much every one there is a place where you'd need it, and then some others where you probably wouldn't need it, and but yeah, a lot of them are situational, and they could work better for you in certain situations and not so well in other situations. But yeah, it's good that you can swap them in and out, like the glyphs you can now. Well, when this hits, that's what you'll be able to do, so that'll be really nice to see how that works, and how much it actually costs, to swap them in and out. If you can easily do it for a low price, I could see this working really, really well. But yeah, that was a look at the Death Knight talents. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in any of the other classes, stay tuned, because I will be doing videos on all of them. This is hopefully going to take me to get my new computer, these videos, because there's not really much else I can actually do for the next few days. So there might be 2 a day, because good news, my computer is being built as we speak, even though it's a Sunday. Said they're building it. Should be dispatched by either Monday or Tuesday, and hopefully it'll be with me by Thursday or Friday. So fingers crossed that all goes well, and by Friday I will be making a shit ton of videos. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.